Hey guys, Attorney Sean Marks. I've been a criminal defense attorney in Michigan for 25 years and helped a lot of people get their driver's license back. And in most cases, that requires them to have what's called a breath alcohol ignition interlock device installed on their vehicles, at least when they start on a restricted license. And what that is a blow machine or a breath test machine that goes on your car. You got to blow in it before you start the vehicle, and at random times it'll ask you to blow while you're driving the vehicle. When you get your license approved with the interlock device, you need to know how to properly use that device. And in most cases, the Secretary of State, if you got your license approved from them, will give you a document, notice of proper interlock use, and it'll give you all the instructions on how to use that device properly so you don't have any problems or violations. You may have gotten your license through sobriety court, or if you had a super drunk case, a judge may have given you a license that required you to have an interlock device. You're going to probably not get that same instructions, but the burden is still on you to understand how to properly use that device. Now, I know everybody says, I'm not going to have any violations. I worked too hard to get my license. And I can tell you, it's been my experience that about 50% of people that get an interlock device have some sort of a violation. It doesn't necessarily have to be drinking alcohol and blowing in it, which would clearly be a violation. That's what we call a BAC violation or a hot blow, a positive alcohol reading. There are other types of violations people can get too. You can have something called a misrolling retest. That's when the machine prompts you to blow while you're driving down the road. You have a certain period of time to blow in it. If you miss that test, say you're outside your vehicle pumping gas and the car's running, then that's a violation. There are other ways that people can have violations as well. I've heard some crazy stories about how people got violated when they weren't even trying to have a problem. So just be aware it can happen. One other type of violation that you can get is tampering or circumventing with the device. Now, in its most clear sense, that would be disconnecting or wiring around it or something like that. And there are probably some engineering people who can do some things like that. But in most situations, it's a loss of power to your battery. The car goes dead on a cold winter morning, and if the battery's dead, then that device isn't getting power. That's going to result in a violation. So there's all kinds of ways that people can have a violation that they probably haven't thought about other than blowing alcohol in the tube. So what to do if you get a violation? Remember, the burden is on you to prove that you were not consuming beverage alcohol while you had your restricted license with the interlock. So in most situations, whether you've been violated for a positive alcohol reading or not, you're going to want to go to a testing facility and get an ETG test within 24 hours. That's the best proof, and it can tell whether you've consumed any alcohol within 3 to 4 days roughly. If you can't get that, at least go to a police station and get a PBT or a preliminary breath test and have a police officer certify what the reading was. Again, this needs to be done within 24 hours. If you have a violation for tampering or circumventing or a missed retest while your car was in the shop for service, or you lost power to your battery, caused the device to go dead, then you're going to need to rely on documentation, receipts, things from the repair shop, proof of a battery installation or a purchase receipt. And in some cases, these things can be resolved administratively without you having to have a hearing. But for most people, what's going to happen is you're going to get a letter from the Secretary of State notifying you that they're aware you had a violation of your interlock device. And that letter is critical because you only have 14 days to request your hearing. If you don't request your hearing within 14 days to claim that you didn't violate your interlock device, you're going to lose your license. You're right back to where you started from. If you get your request for hearing in within 14 days, then you're going to wait until you have your hearing. And it usually takes, in most cases, about 60 days before the state will call you in to have your interlock violation hearing. Again, you might be able to resolve this administratively with documentation and receipts, and then you wouldn't need to have a hearing. But for most people, you're going to need to have this hearing, and I've been very successful at resolving most interlock violations for people and getting them back on their restricted license. I hope this video helped answer some of your questions, but if you have more, call me. I'll get you driving again.